How porn destroyed men forever. By this channel called Moon. And of course, it has over 1 million subscribers. Anything anti-male is very popular. Let's see what he has to say. I haven't watched this yet, so we'll see.
Adult content is modern society's worst kept secret. The amount of people who regularly
No, it's not. Everyone knows about it.
watch it is really insane, with roughly 40 million regular viewers in America alone. The most
It's not insane. It just means that people like sex. That's it.
popular sites compete with LinkedIn and Netflix for popularity, whilst roughly 1 in 7 of all internet searches are people seeking it out. With an average user getting their first exposure at just 13 years old, we don't know nearly enough about how damaging adult
In other words, as soon as they hit puberty, they're interested in sex. Right.
content truly is in the modern world, but new studies have confirmed some of our worst fears, with evidence linking
This is
adult
bullshit.
content to addiction, dysfunction, and
This is bullshit. Because porn has been consumed for ages. Let me see how far back we can go. Let me just pause this. Okay, the very first issue of Playboy was 1953. So it's been wildly available for us for what's that, 70 years? Oh my God. Also, I want to show you, this is Weird Tales from the 1930s. And look at the sexy images they had on their covers. And that predates the bikini. The bikini first came out in 1946, and yet these are the covers they had in the 1930s, right? You know, this has been going on forever. So here they are pretending this is brand new.
permanent physical damage to the brain. Meanwhile, the generation most immersed in this content are also the loneliest in living memory. Young people
Of course, we all know that loneliness, some of the guys in the PMC actually pointed out, right, in my Discord, loneliness is just a euphemism for he can't get the girl. He doesn't have a girlfriend or a wife, right? So women are rejecting men. They never wanted to be with them, right? And he's trying to blame pornography. He's got the cart before the horse. Guys go to porn when they can't get what they want.
today are less likely to form lasting relationships and connect with each other than ever before.
No, you're not. This is not pornography. Women never wanted to be with men, period.
So let's uncover the terrible consequences of modern society's new addiction and how it's sabotaging millions of young men and women's chances for love.
It's not addiction. It's not addiction. Like I say, it's been around, like Playboy's been around since 1953, right? This is, men have always, that before the internet, that Playboy was bought on the regular by the average guy, right? So this is not new, and it's not affecting women. Women are the selectors. If intimacy isn't happening it's because women aren't interested in intimacy with men.
It's becoming clear that adult content is destroying dating forever.
You are a stupid tradcon, Moon.
It might seem obvious that adult content is impacting young people's relationships. Whatever you think about it, most people wouldn't be completely comfortable with their partner consuming it on a regular basis. But it's easy just to focus on what it does to relationships. Instead, we're going to explore how adult content sabotages men from the offset, making even just dating far more.
But not women, right, guys? It sabotages men, but not women. This guy's full of contradictions, right? It affects both men and women at first, and now he's focusing just on men, right? So what is this about? Men are finding contentment outside of real life women. That bugs this guy.
difficult. Everyone's experience is different, but there's a few problems that people instinctively know are there. There's worries that adult content could act like a substitute for real human interaction. Men who consume it could lose motivation and their drive for a better life, as long as they're more comfortable.
What's a better life? Getting the real life validation, or validation from a real life woman. Which isn't a better life, everyone, because it's a shit life. Sexless marriage with some woman who hates your guts is the complete opposite of a better life. So this guy is wrong.
Consuming the content rather than putting themselves out there. Other people think it might make reality look worse in comparison, slowly raising people's expectations and sabotaging their feelings for their partner.
Are you showing the movie True Lies, right? Which was a fantasy. It was a fantasy that the married man had this hot wife that was going to service him, right? So you're showing pornography, essentially, Moon, to try and make your case.
Expectations and sabotaging their feelings for their partner. After all, real life doesn't have cinematic lighting, makeup team, or flattering camera angles. And then there's the question of whether adult content makes people think more transactionally about relationships and intimacy. If someone...
It is transaction, dude. Men know it. You know it's transactional. Hey, do men still give engagement rings to their fiancés? They do, right? So it's transactional. Here you are. Hey, is this guy going to pay for this date? Yes, it is. So it's transactional.
Someone's been consuming false content for years, living in a dopamine-filled bubble, it might cheapen the real experience. These are all...
It just means real experience is shit. What's it the guy say? Starfish sex, right? Where the woman who really isn't interested in sex with the man or intimacy with him at all, who's just using him, just lays flat, lets him do his business. That is a shit experience. And so porn is miles and miles better than that.
All good questions, but even with all the soul searching and introspection in the world, it's really hard to tell how watching adult content actually changes you. Luckily, we don't need to get too...
Tell me something, Moon. How come women read romance novels? Doesn't that damage their brains? Isn't that just a fantasy, a sexual fantasy for this woman? And doesn't it damage their brains, right? Doesn't it give them false ideas of how reality works, right? What is it, Jane Eyre, where the lowly girl gets the Superman, the lonely wealthy man? Is that not a fantasy that women have been absorbing for generations upon generations, right? Yet that kind of fantasy that doesn't gear with reality is all right with you.
Philosophical here. New research on the effects adult content is having on our brains is confirming all of our worst fears.
No, not all of our. I don't fear this at all. My fear is that guys like you are going to try and damage men even further. Men have an outlet, and it's you want to shut this outlet off.
Looking at the facts, we can predict the awful consequences for young men and the dating world in general. Back in the days when tobacco companies still had complete control of the government, they developed a whole...
I'm going to bypass this propaganda as if that has anything to do with this. He's trying to say the government is somehow damaging people. Maybe I should listen to it. Remember, I haven't watched this yet, so I don't know if this is going to be pertinent or not.
Bag of tricks to ensnare lifelong customers. Most of their advertising was redundant. Just reminding people that their addiction existed was more than enough. Instead, their main goal was to get new smokers, children, and teenagers who are most susceptible to picking up the lifelong habits.
Okay, so you're blaming the government for people's desires, right? By the way, dude, smoking, there's been anti-smoking rhetoric since I was a boy. People still take up smoking, don't they? Right? So it's not that the government wants people smoking. People want to smoke. And the government you just takes advantage of it. And that's the same with pornography.
Sucked into their trap. So the company started putting adverts next to sugary drinks and snacks, or they display their adverts lower than usual.
Okay, yeah, okay. He's blaming the government for people's desires, or in this case, women's lack of desire for men. And I don't know if I'll bother playing this because this is bullshit. That's all I'm going to say in the end anyway. It doesn't change the brains. If it does, then our brains have been changing since the dawn of time. Okay? So let's get past this, guys. He's gonna give a bunch of bullshit. Let's see. Anything else? Decreased. Let's see.
Striatum. This is where the brain's higher decision-making processes are found. Damage and a loss in brain matter there lends weight to the claim that people build up a tolerance to adult content over time. But it could also
Yeah, that's true. You need greater stimulation over time. That's true, right?
have unforeseen consequences for how people live their lives and how content they are with them. We've also seen evidence that excessive adult content use can lead to the damage in the connections between the decision-making center of the brain and the reward system.
Really? So how come it's only affecting the male brain according to you, right? It affects both sexes, but it only affects the men, and the men are the one that do it, right? You do realize you're debunking your own bullshit, Moon. If this was true, then it wouldn't be male focused, would it? Let's say get past all the lies, propaganda. Let's see what else we got here. Porn-induced erectile dysfunction. No. Let's see how porn affects relationships. That's bullshit. It's just as well to go through all this. Let's see. Let's get this one.
Less desirable than video.
Rewired to seek out porn instead of real sex. No, it's not. It's not rewired. Men just realize that porn is better than real sex. Real sex blows. Unintended. So they get the porn and say, oh, porn is so much better, which it is.
But this could happen for
because women don't fulfill men's fantasies. All they do is give men the bare minimum to get what they want.
Number of reasons. One thing that adult content has that real life will never have is a sense of safety. There's no real checks or tests or struggle involved in consuming it at all, other than just clicking.
Really? There's no effort into consuming it, right? Right. That's a bonus, right? So see what he's saying? He said, men struggling. Men need to struggle. Men need to work. That's everyone's attitude towards men. We always have to suffer. We always have to sacrifice, and we must be continually working. That is the mindset for a slave.
Clicking the I'm over 18 button, people naturally find the easiest way of fulfilling a need and stick to it. Leaving that comfort zone and finding a real relationship is so much harder, especially today.
A real relationship blows. Being used by a woman blows. So real relationships are garbage. And that's why men seek out something better. I don't have one of these real relationships, just like I don't have cancer. Neither one of them are desired.
That it's not actually that surprising that our animal brains aren't bothering at all. Of course, while it's easier at first, addiction eventually sets in, which makes
No. Porn addiction doesn't lead to isolation. Isolation leads to porn addiction, if such a thing exists. Right. But considering how much people have always consumed, I suspect porn addiction is right up there with food addiction, right? So, but anyway, more cart before the horse, right? Men who can't get any female company in the first place go to porn, not the other way around. Okay, that's debunked. What else we got here?
It's not just the men. Adult content's cultural impact is
not just the men. See, if dude, if real relationships was what people desired, then pornography couldn't destroy it.
major implications for dating as a whole. It's another reflection of how we've turned an intimate human experience into a datafied numbers game. Anyone who's tried to
Well, it always has been for the girls. This all makes sense when women realize, well, when you realize that women never liked men, right? My 7 years on dating apps has been a cesspit of bots, scammers, and weirdos. Weirdos? Right. So was this written by a woman? Weirdos just means God, and scammers just mean low status men pretending that they're high status, because she was never interested in men for themselves. Moon, just educating you.
an online dating app knows how many bots there are. They've also probably
Remember, guys, this guy, this anti-male man, he's got over 1 million subs. Anti-male content sells.
with a potential partner, only to find out they're just advertising their Instagram or their OnlyFans. It isn't a coincidence that these two parts of the internet
Right. OnlyFans, in other words, an app where women make megabucks off of male mercs. Right. And it shows you what women are actually after.
so closely linked. The dating apps act as a barrier, filtering out the people who don't make the cuts and get rejected by the algorithm. At exactly the
There you go. They're a filter, which shows you that women are interested in men. If they were, they wouldn't need a filter, right?
same time, it offers them an alternative. The only matches they get are fake advert accounts, profiles that the apps could easily get rid of.
Okay, there you go. So we don't need to go any further this. Hiring staff to do private chats. What's this? Dirty little secret. Creators admit to hiring staff to do private chats. Okay, so they're scamming men, right?
Just hire people to respond to the messages for them anyway. Even that tiny bit of real human contact is built on a lie. The fact that OnlyFans has become so widespread is even more concerning. It normalizes transactional views towards dating.
So what you're proving is what I've been saying. Women aren't interested in men, right? That these men are scammed. It's not the men and their just consumption of porn that stops them from getting together with women. Women aren't interested. Moon, you are a loser. Well, maybe I shouldn't call you a loser, because if you're making money off of these 1 million losers, then you're the winner, I guess. Anything else? Most OnlyFans creators fail? Not really. If failure means they just don't make money off of men easily. I mean, they have nothing to lose, these women, do they? It's not like they go in the hole, right? Anything else? OnlyFans is destroying traditional values. No, OnlyFans is exactly what women want. OnlyFans is what women want in the first place. So they never had these traditional values. OnlyFans aren't forcing women to use it the way that they do and sell their bodies. This is what women want, and OnlyFans is simply gearing into that. Anything else? This whole video is just bullshit. You can't simply
Anything that you've been doing for months or
to be a different person. That's right. So once a guy gets rejected by women as a whole, he knows there's no way to change himself. For one thing, he shouldn't, because he obviously is a good person. Most men are nice guys. Women hate nice guys, right? So they're saying, if you're a good person, we're not interested in you. They're not interested in men as people, right? So men shouldn't try to change. They should just they should consume their porn. They should say, okay, I'm a good person. I'm not loved for who I am. So the relationships with these women are garbage anyway. Time to consume my porn. Right. Anything else? I'm not allowing this guy to speak much, guys, because you do not need your ears filled with this horseshit. Anything else? This perspective will need sorry, I can't even speak English anymore. Real life sexual experiences. Yeah. Well, actually, what leads to it is that you realize real life sexual experiences are trash. All right, anything else?
And really what happened is whenever I was old enough to enter into relationships and start trying to engage in sexual activity, I realized that I essentially conditioned my brain to prefer pixels over, people.
Your brain wasn't conditioned, dude. You just found out that pixels were better. Okay, anything else? Okay, I'm not going to go any further. Moon, you're another scumbag attacking man. And I need to call you out. So I am. So take a look at this guy. Like I said, these guys, is this anti-male content, allows this guy to get over 1 million subs, has 10K upvotes. It has over 100,000 views in a single day. That's what we're up against. A better message is being buried by this evil. This is what I consider evil. It's destructive to 50% of the human population. Thank you, Moon, for providing me with a perfect example of a lowlife. See you around, everyone.